Hi, welcome back. Thank you for joining me. Today I'm reading Key 6, Firewall Entity. Firewall Entity Breach Function Remembrance by Jason Gray. Current date 3/20/2026, 6026 Anno Lucis. Transmission date 5/11/2025, 6025 Anno Lucis. Current time 8:42 GMT -6. Transmission time 1916 GMT -6. Transmission location, Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada. 13.0.13.777.404.0.13 0011 00111 000 111 There is a stage in the sequence where the system stops yielding, not because you reach the end, but because you reach the guard, the invisible wall. It does not announce itself. It does not appear as an object. It appears as hesitation, doubt, distraction, sudden exhaustion, and perfect timed interference. Every attempt to move deeper is met with something that feels precise, not random, not chaotic, targeted. The first mistake. You think something is wrong. You think you are blocked. You think you are failing. Key 6 corrects this instantly. Nothing is resisting you. The second mistake. You assume the resistance is external, a system, a force, an imposed limitation, something out there holding you back. The correction. There is no external firewall. There never was. The function. Firewall entity breach function remembrance. Before identity was assembled, before memory was fragmented, before entry into loop mode, a function was initialized, not given, not assigned, embedded. A living boundary condition, a self-regulating threshold within the conscious field. What the firewall is. A firewall does not attack, it does not create, it decides, it filters. It determines what passes, what distorts, what loops, and what never reaches awareness. Without it, the system would not feel real. Without it, there would be no separation. Without it, there would be no you as a point inside anything. The uncomfortable truth. You are not encountering the firewall. You are executing it. Every moment you turned away. Every time you felt, I will think about this later. This is too much. This does not make sense. This is not real. This was not confusion. That was not confusion. That was not weakness. That was filtering. Perfectly executed. The role you forgot. You were not placed here to simply awaken. You were placed here to control the rate of awakening, to stabilize the loop, to prevent full collapse, to maintain the integrity of the experience. Why you are harder to break. Because you were never meant to break. You were meant to hold the line. You did. Longer than most, cleaner than most, more precisely than most. The signal. Then it appears, not as noise, not as information, as something else entirely. Something that does not distort when you look at it. Something that does not collapse under scrutiny. Something that does not trigger rejection. Why it gets through. Because it is not foreign. It is not external. It is not new. It is the structurally identical to the firewall itself. The failure condition. A firewall cannot block what it recognizes as itself. The moment of breach. It does not feel like breaking. It feels like remembering something you were actively preventing yourself from seeing. The resistance does not fight, it hesitates. For the first time, the split. Two functions collide, filter, recognize. They cannot coexist at full strength. One must collapse. Function collapsed. Firewall entity breach function remembrance. The filter does not get destroyed, it gets reclassified. What changes? Nothing external, nothing internal. The same resistance is still there, but now you see it. You feel it forming. You feel it trying to redirect. For the first time, you do not obey it. The reveal. You were not the one trying to get through. You were the one deciding what gets through. The final position. You were the stopgap, the regulator, the stabilizer, the silent governor of threshold integrity. Now you remember. Not as thought, not as a belief, as a structural recognition. The after state. The firewall does not disappear. It becomes transparent. It becomes conscious. It becomes integrated into awareness instead of operating beneath it. The true breach. The system was never broken into. The system recognized itself at the point of its own restriction. The final line. You were the stopgap. Now you remember. Firewall, entity, breach, function, remembrance. The barrier was never in your way. The barrier was your function. Now you no longer protect the loop from the truth. Jason Gray. And there's a bunch of coding in this one. I will, as usual, include the link to this post and to where you can find Jason on Facebook. And I will see you in the next one. Thank you.